Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is Chris, your host with Shadows Techland. So at this point, you are either a computer builder or you're in the IT industry, and well, like me and many others, you have a drawer that has a gazillion USB flash drives in it. Gets really obnoxious, gets really annoying, which one is which. Oh, you may have it labeled, but now it doesn't work, or it broke, or things happened where it's having an issue now. That gets really obnoxious. So what do you do to fix that situation? Well, there's a lot of multi-boot installers that you can get out there that are pretty helpful. There's PenDrive, there's Yummy, there's the one I'll be going over today. There's quite a few out there. I've used PenDrive, I've used quite a few of them. They're not bad. After a while, sometimes when you start to add more and more into your list of your toolkit that you use on an everyday, or sometimes every once in a while, depending on your job or what you're doing at home, they start to run into issues. I've been using the Yummy installer for quite a long time, starting to have issues with it, so I've been looking for another alternative. Sometimes when you get multiple selections in the same menu, like Windows installers, for example, because you want to have a couple different ones, like Windows 10, Windows 7, whatever. When you start to add more of them in there, I've noticed that you start to run into issues. Now, it could be that the flash drive is dying, it could be a lot of different things. I started to have a lot of issues, so I went ahead and started looking around. At this point in time, I have a new one that I've been playing with. Before getting into the video, I just want to make one disclaimer at this point in time. I did not make this software. I am not the developer. I take no credit whatsoever. So do keep that in mind. Just wanted to go over what I found in a really cool tool that I'm actually starting to like quite a bit. I hope I am pronouncing it correctly, but it's called Ventoy. It is a new bootable USB solution, and I will show that to you. I will leave a link in the description. This is a fairly new one, but one of the things that I like about it is it seems to have a lot more support and play nicer with the various ISOs. There's a lot already supported and a lot of ISOs that are already tested. At this point in time, they are at the release of Ventoy 1010. There are quite a few file systems that are supported, so it does do NTFS. It does all the other various ones, so ext3, 4, 2, XFS, UDF, and NTFS. At this point in time, there's over 200 plus ISOs that have been actually validated to where it does work with the system. It is tested and it does work. Now, sometimes you may find ones that don't work. That could be one of a couple reasons. That could be the machine itself does not like the particular boot. It may be too new, it may be too old. Maybe it doesn't like the UEFI file system that's being used. It could be a lot of different reasons. It may not necessarily be this tool. It could just be a specific issue with the machine that you were trying to use this tool with. Do keep that in mind. Now, it is 100% open source. It's very basic at this point. There is no themes, there's no plugins, there's no ways to make it pretty at this point. At least it's been built into this version. He has went ahead, this developer has put out information as to how you can go ahead and do modifications. He just hasn't got around to that and does basically leave it open to you doing modifications. It does do legacy and UEFI support in the same way. It will do support of ISOs that are larger than 4 gigs. It does have a native boot menu. It does do over 200 ISOs, like I said, files that have been tested and validated and do work. It will also do complete installation processes. Now, there is no automation tools that you can use for automatically installing at this point. Now, there is also a way where you can do it in listed or treed mode. I believe that's F3 if I remember correctly from my testing. Basically, there's a plugin framework that is there. Auto installation is supported, but it's not all the way out there at this point in time because it is still kind of new. Now, one of the really super couple nice things that I do like about this is basically you can take any ISO and you can put it onto the thumb drive, flash drive, external hard drive, whatever it is that you are using, and it will automatically go ahead and create a boot menu in the system itself for you. So there's no installation, there's no BS, there's no coding that you have to do unless you're trying to do something really super crazy. Now, it does have data non-destructive during version upgrades, so if the software upgrades, you don't have to go ahead and reinstall every single time or anything of that nature. It is really awesome. I've been using it for a little bit now. I do find it quite helpful. Going over the basic quick rundown. So in Windows, it's got Windows 10, 8, 8.1, 7, several versions of Server, Server 2012, 16, and 19 to be exact. Windows 10 Business. Does have WinPE support. There are versions for Debian. So Debian 10.3.0.8 does do Ubuntu and Ubuntu Studio as well. And of course, other various flavors, so Lubuntu, Kubuntu, Xubuntu, Ubuntu Bait. And then there's several versions of Fedora. CentOS has a lot of support. Red Hat Linux, SUSE, Arch, basically pretty much a lot of everything in between. Kali, there's support for. Now, I haven't gone through and tested everything that I use in my toolkit because I have a pretty extensive one. Like I said, you may run into issues with various different boots that you're trying that may not be compatible at this point. That could be either because the software isn't compatible with your particular ISO, or possibly the machine isn't capable to boot with your particular boot device. Now, that could be because it's USB 2, it could be that it's USB 3, maybe the machine doesn't like it. Sometimes machines, especially older ones, can have problems with USB supported devices. Personally, I'm using one of these. It's a 1 terabyte USB 3.0 capable hard drive. You can use thumb drives as well. It's basically whatever you have laying around. Super easy, so you would go to the website, which once again I'll leave a description. Go to the downloads page. There's a zip for Windows, there's a zip for Linux. There are instructions on the Linux side in order to install using this software onto whatever USB device you're using. Windows is just a zip file. You right click it, extract it, and then it comes to an exe. You open that up, make sure you do it as run as administrator, and then point to whatever USB device you are using. Disclaimer as well, basically whatever device that you are going to use, whether it's flash drive, USB device, external hard drive, do keep in mind whatever you're using, you will be basically destroying the data on that device. So make sure that if you want to any of that data, you back it up first, because you will be formatting it to use for this software. And then after that, basically it shows up in Windows or Linux as an external device, and then you throw your ISOs on it from that point. So basic screenshots of what you're looking at is basically this. It comes up to a boot screen of Vento. Now, depending on, of course, whatever device you're booting, whether it's a Raspberry Pi or it's a NUC or laptop, desktop, server, anything in between, you will need to look up the instructions for your machine / motherboard on what is basically you would use for booting. Now, you may also have to go into BIOS, and you may have to enable USB devices and show it as an external hard drive. Again, you will need to look up the manufacturer of your motherboard or of your machine in order to find out what those instructions are in order to change that properly. And then it basically just gives you one long giant list of how many ever ISOs that you have to boot from. So Windows, Ubuntu, this is basically what you'd be looking at. I'll go ahead and I'll show you mine as just a quick super rundown. soon as it comes up, basically follow the boot instructions. It should tell you what F key, function key, or escape or delete or whatever it may be for your device. Choose external hard drive, and then basically it shows this right here. And I've got a pretty extensive list, so Backbox, BART, Bitdefender, server, Komodo Rescue Disk, various Windows installers. I have all the way from XP 8, XP 7, 8, and 10, just because you never know what you're going to need. Obviously, Kaspersky, Rescue, Canopix, Microsoft Server, Parrot for security, for basically network tools if you wanted to basically go onto a site to do some sort of investigation or basically map it out for a client. Security Onion, more server. I've got Ubuntu, Windows basically, and then it would come up, and then yeah, as you can see, there's one that doesn't work. I'm still doing some modifications to this to get it working correctly. Like I said, I haven't tested this with everything that I put on there. I literally just got this built the other day, and I'm still kind of playing around with it, so you'll need to modify it to work correctly with your needs. Let's see. So Windows 10 installer. Wait for that to come up. I probably don't have this connected to a USB 3 point on my laptop, so it takes a minute. And now basically you're just at a Windows installer just like you normally would be, so you would go through and follow the instructions. And that's basically it. Do keep in mind, no matter if you're installing Linux or any kind of tool that you have from your toolkit, you'll need to basically keep in mind whatever size this is or device is, because you want to make sure that you are indeed formatting the right device. Otherwise you could run into problems and have to redo it again. And that's basically it. Brief rundown. Again, it's called Ventoy. It's a multi-boot USB installer. I'll leave a link in the description. And have at it, guys, and have fun with making your toolkit. I appreciate it. Have a good one. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video.